Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Vrakas Blum Computer Consulting June webinar. Today's topic is Sage CRM. What is it, and how can it play a major role in your business? Our speaker today is Don Gruber, one of our partners and pretty much a member of the VBCC family. Let's see, a couple of quick notes here. Just letting you know, our July webinar will be on Sage budgeting and planning. It's a new module that they have coming out for the Sage 100C people or 100 Cloud, and it's free. So let's put that on your calendar to attend that one. Let's see, the second thing is, due to a lot of content in today's presentation, we're going to ask you to hold your questions until the end of the webinar. Please use the question function at the bottom of the chat screen. And then the third thing is the webinar is being recorded, so you can watch it at a later date, and it'll be posted up to our website. With that out of the way, let's get on with the webinar. Give me a moment, and I'm switching the presenter to Don. Welcome, Don.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Steve. Welcome, everybody. There's my my glamour shot there. I got to get as much use at that. I probably need to get that updated. I'm looking pretty young in that picture. So as Steve mentioned, my name is Don Gruber from Effective Solutions. We're based just outside of Milwaukee. I'm assuming that we have, looking at the list, we have some people that are already using Sage CRM. We probably have a group of people that don't use Sage CRM currently, but are on the Sage 100 application for their ERP system. That's going to be our main focus, is the Sage CRM product today, and also how it integrates. That's probably the biggest benefit to using the Sage CRM product, is its integration with Sage 100. And obviously we're going to get you familiar with what CRM is, what it can do for your company. And as Steve mentioned, if you have questions along the way, please post them in the questions section of the GoToWebinar, and then we'll cover them at the end of the session. So a quick overview of the CRM product. It is web-based, so it'll run through a browser. The application itself will need to be installed on a server on your network, whether that is on your Sage 100 server that you currently run, if it has the capacity to do so, or it may be on a separate server that's on the same network, so that the Sage CRM application can talk to your Sage 100 application. And the browser, it's pretty flexible. You can run it in Internet Explorer, in Chrome, Firefox, and the nice part about that is you don't need to install client software on every workstation. Base integration. So what comes with the out-of-the-box Sage CRM implementation? So we will typically install Sage CRM, as I mentioned, on that Sage 100 server or on a server right next to it. And a typical core piece of the project is, once Sage CRM is installed, we'll run a utility to pull all of your Sage 100 customers into Sage CRM. Once that's done, so if I switch over, actually, let me give you a look at what that looks like. So here you see Maverick Papers. This is, and as you can see, I'm in a browser session. In this case, I'm running Chrome. And this record is linked to Sage 100, so it would have come over in that utility when I bring over all of my Sage 100 customers into CRM. The screens themselves can be customized as much as you want. So if I go into edit mode here, we're going to see that I'll be able to have drop-down fields. I can tag, what segment they're in, enter in descriptions. Typically, as part of your CRM project, we will work with you to determine what fields you're going to need from a customization standpoint to track your customers, to track your prospects, to do reporting, to do target marketing. Part of that integration, or the base integration, gives you the ability to convert prospect records to customers as well. So Without a CRM system, one of the challenges you have is what do you do with your prospect records? Because your Sage 100 system right now is really meant for your customers, people who buy from you. So companies without CRM typically have a variety of locations they're storing that prospect information, whether it's Excel spreadsheets. Each salesperson may be maintaining their prospects in their own Outlook records, so they're not shared. The central database is one of the core concepts of a CRM system, and we will get into that as we go through here as well. So converting a prospect, let me give you an example of what that looks like. So if I'm on, I can pull up a prospect record in my CRM system. So here I have type of prospect. I believe ABC Fish Market is my one prospect in my demo database. When I pull them up, you can see they don't have a customer number. I have the ability to just simply add new company records to CRM. So your CRM users can add as many prospect records as they want. This type field is your main identifier for those prospects. And then if you have the authority or the permission, so not everybody can create customers in Sage 100, but when ABC Fish Market calls and says, I'm ready to place my first order, the person responsible for creating customers or the team can pull up that record in CRM. They can click on Maintain Relationship. It'll pop up a window here that's a Sage 100 or a link to Sage 100. So here I can click on this pound symbol to create the next customer, hit accept, and now at this point, it will create the customer record in Sage 100. If I refresh my screen, we'll see that it is linked to Sage 100, and I can actually go ahead then and use customer maintenance button in Sage CRM to pull up that customer in Sage 100, and I could fill out additional information on that record, maybe give it, terms and credit limit and all that kind of stuff that's like on the accounting side. But essentially you saved the time of having to re-enter the information as a Sage 100 customer by converting the record in CRM to a customer in Sage 100. Now that it's linked, we can also talk about what data synchronizes. So all the information on this main customer maintenance screen is typically set to synchronize over to CRM. So if I come in here and add a suite number and maybe add an email address, when I hit accept, within a couple of seconds, that data will synchronize down to Sage 100. So here you have the suite number. I'm sorry, it'll synchronize the Sage CRM, and the email address came across too. And we typically set that up as a one-way street, but obviously one of the benefits there is for your customer records, that core set of data, that billing data, will stay synchronized between the two applications. So that's one of the core pieces of functionality with the Sage CRM application. We also have the ability to generate quotes and orders from CRM and use what's called an opportunity in CRM for follow-up. I'm going to touch on this more when we get to the opportunities piece, but one of the main benefits, and a lot of times one of the main reasons people implement CRM is because they're generating all of these quotes, but they don't really have a system to follow up on the quotes. So it becomes just a get the quotes out. If the customer or prospect calls back, great. If not, that one disappears and we never did any follow-up. So the CRM application is going to give you a system to follow up on those quotes. And we'll, as I mentioned, we'll see that when I get to the opportunities section of the demo. Core CRM functionality. So when you think about what is CRM going to do for my company when I implement it, one of the main things is a central sales and marketing database. So you have a list of your customers and prospects. And if you want to, you can enter your vendors in there too. Note, though, that the integration between Sage CRM and Sage 100 does not include vendor information. It only synchronizes customer data, meaning, your AR customer table and the company list in CRM is what is synchronizing. The vendor stuff does not synchronize. We have, for some of our customers that wanted to manage their vendors, we have exported their vendors from Sage 100 and pulled them into Sage CRM so that you can manage communication, attach emails for vendor communication, that type of thing. But at its core, that CRM database is your master database of customers and prospects and vendors if you choose. With that said, then the concept is, if everybody's doing their job, meaning if all the CRM users are managing the key communication as they talk to customers and prospects, you can pull up any customer in CRM and see who talked to them last and what was discussed. So, and we can also manage follow-ups. So let's touch on this core functionality here. And all CRM packages, this is the expectation, right? When CRM hit the market, this was the main push. Be it the ability, you have 5 salespeople, they're all talking to their customers and prospects. Maybe you have an inside sales team. Now you have multiple people talking to the same customer. You need to share that information across teams, or maybe a person's out on vacation. You want to know what happened last. You would pull them up in CRM and that information would be there. So if we go back to Maverick Papers as an example, this communication tab in CRM acts as that audit history of all the communications that have happened between your company and, in this case, ABC Fish Market. Let me actually go to Maverick Papers because we have more examples on that account. So if I go to the communications tab here, I have a history of who talked to Maverick Papers last, whether it's check-in calls, or in this case, if you see an orange check mark, that means it's actually a future reminder that's set up in the system, so we can do follow-ups as well. And I can pull up, in this case, here's an email out. If I wanted to look at that email, I can see a history of that, whether that's a quote that was sent out. We'll be able to see the quote attached. So any emails that get attached, the attachments are included. We'll touch on that a little bit more as we move forward. But here you can see everyone that talked to that customer and what was discussed. And as I mentioned, you have follow-ups too. So to enter in a conversation, let me just give you a kind of a brief overview of how easy that is. We can just click on the plus symbol here and create a new task. And if I received a phone call in and they were checking on an order, let them know order was shipping tomorrow. And I can mark that complete. So now I'm just making a quick entry in the system. I hit save. And that one appears in the history, in the communications. And once again, key to this is everyone in the organization, all the CRM users then see that list, so that information is shared across the organization and stored with that customer record in CRM. As I mentioned, I can do follow-ups as well. So this is a check-in call that I scheduled. I can use that same new task screen to schedule future items. I would just leave the status pending. And when CRM users do that, then there is a calendar function within CRM that lets them, they can use the calendar in here if you do want to use a calendar feature within the CRM product. A lot of times companies will continue to use their Outlook calendar, and there are functions within the system that can actually sync your Outlook calendar, Exchange calendar with CRM if you wanted to do so. A majority of our customers, the main use of the follow-ups is on the phone side or on the to-do side. So here you see I have an agenda and a task list within here. Concept is I can come in as a salesperson and see who I'm supposed to call this week. See this window here from June 20th to June 27th. It's always going to give you that 7-day window of who you're supposed to be calling. And then I can, if I come in this morning and I see I need to follow up with Joe at ABC Fish Market, I can actually click on ABC Fish Market to jump to their record. Before I call Joe, I can click on the communications to see if there's any history there. And then when I'm ready to make that phone call, I can just click on the orange checkbox. It'll mark it complete. And I can put in my notes. So call notes here. And if I need to schedule another follow-up after my notes go in, I can do that. So here I'm entering in my phone call that I just did. I hit save. It's prompting me to do the next follow-up. So I'm going to follow up here, and I'm going to do a check-in call. And let's schedule that for maybe next Monday. And I hit save, and now I've basically done 2 entries. One is that call that I just made, and the next one is my future call. So when I go back to my calendar, that future call will be out there within my window of 7 days, or if it was outside the 7-day window, obviously it would pop up when appropriate. So that kind of closes the loop on the follow-up from a phone call perspective. I can schedule tasks for other people if I needed to as well. If I was a inside salesperson and I needed to schedule, have an outside salesperson call a customer, I can do stuff like that as well. Okay, so that core 360-degree view of what's going on with the customer. In addition to that, because we have the integration with Sage 100, over and above that core CRM functionality, we have the ability to inject key sales data, transaction data, items purchased data within that record as well. So if I go back to that Maverick Papers account, I'll be able to see last invoice dates, do they have any open quotes, do they have any open orders, what invoices have gone out, what have they been buying from us. So let's go and look at that. And you'll notice here this button that I've been clicking on is the recent button. So this is something that Sage CRM users use quite a bit as well, is I can pull up accounts that I've used before. I also have a quick search or a quick find feature here to search for accounts to pull them up as well, in addition to just my standard entity lookup. So now that I'm on Maverick Papers, first thing I want you to notice are the fields in green here. These are all the fields that come over from Sage 100, typically on a nightly basis. Key fields to focus on here, last invoice date. If you wanted to focus or do some target marketing on customers that haven't been invoiced in 6 months, you could play off of that date. Year-to-date sales compared to last year, are they ahead or behind? Sales in total last year, sales in total 2 years ago, and do they owe us any money? And key to this information is if you have salespeople that are currently working off of reports right now, here's their incentive to start using CRM. They can pull up their account and they can get to this information without needing access to Sage 100. All this information gets pulled into Sage CRM, and everything I'm going to show you in this advanced customization piece does not require them to have Sage 100 on their computer. It's all accessed through the Sage CRM interface. Okay, so we have this as part of our advanced customization feature. So also to note, this advanced customization feature is over and beyond what the base integration is. So there's an extra charge for this, but I think out of all of our Sage CRM implementations, almost all of our Sage 100 customers include this advanced customization piece with their project. So now if I come up here, I have my transactional tabs. Here are the quotes. So this is reading the quotes that are in Sage 100 right now. And I can drill down on this quote to see the line items. So those are quotes. If I had open orders, I don't think this account does, but if I had any open orders in Sage 100 for this customer, meaning orders that have been approved but not shipped yet, And then obviously when they ship, they become invoices. So here you have 3 invoices for Maverick Papers that have gone out. If I want to, once again, drill down on an invoice, I can see the line items there, all without needing access to Sage 100. So this is very beneficial for that salesperson that may need to access sales information from the road or remotely, and they don't need to bug the back office. They don't need to go look it up on a report somewhere. It's all available from that customer record in CRM. In addition to that, it's a little bit of a pain to drill down on every invoice to see what that customer's been buying. So now we drill down one level deeper. We drill down one level deeper on to the purchase history, right? So here we can see what items that customer has been buying. So here it's grouping by item, and it will give you a comparison of what they've purchased of that item this year versus last year and the difference. We can also do it by product line. And then the items purchased is actually a list of all of the line items from all of their invoices. And then this is real nice item level analysis because you can do searches in here too. Okay, so I can come in and say, you know, how many drawers have they purchased? Okay, or lamps, and it will let you search through that data. And you can also export it to Excel if some of our customers use this data to help come up with price levels for next year as they sit down with their customers. They can review what types of items that customer has purchased. Okay, so that all of that is with our advanced customization package, the item level data, the transactional level data. If we go back, the kind of the sales metrics information that's here, and that's all stuff that makes it very handy for the CRM user. Okay, and this is just a review of that, what I just went through, so I can skip ahead on that. Then we talk about Outlook integration. So there is a plugin that comes with Sage CRM, and that lets you file emails between Outlook and CRM. There's also a feature in the CRM package that if you wanted to synchronize your calendar and your contacts and task lists between CRM and Exchange Outlook, we can turn that on the server. And then there's a third-party tool called Accelerator that almost runs a small CRM window within Outlook and makes it even more powerful. So I'm going to give you a quick view of that. You know, for example, here's my Outlook. And if we look at this File Email button or the Sage CRM tab at the top, this is the plugin that comes with CRM. So I can pick an email anywhere in Outlook, and I can click on File, and it will pop up a window, and it'll try to find a match for that email in CRM. In this case, it did find a match, Mary Ellen at Benetrends, and I can modify that so that I can even attach that to either an opportunity or a case if it applied. Right, so I can attach the email to a company, a person, or a case or an opportunity. And what that's designating then is when I click on File, it will actually make a copy of that email, and it'll show up on the Benetrends Communications tab and on Mary Ellen's Communications tab as well. Right, so if I go look at our CRM here, let me pull this up. So here's the Benetrends record, and if I drill down Notice I didn't mention before, but one of the other benefits is you at a company that you're selling to, you can manage all the people at that company too. Normally in Sage 100, your contact is the AP contact or maybe a couple of people who buy from you, but now you give your salespeople the ability to enter in all those other contacts that they're selling to that are not in Sage 100. CRM is the place you want that information to be. And if I drill down on Mary Ellen's record and I go to communications, you can see I have, lots of emails that we have exchanged, whether it's an email out or an email in, and then I can drill down on any of these emails and see, information on that. So the other benefit is then you can delete that email from CRM, and you can delete the email from Outlook, and it's in CRM where everybody can see it. So it helps everyone keep their Outlook inboxes clean as well. And you can, when you send an email, you can file it on the way out too. There's a send and file option. When I do a new email here under Sage CRM, there's a send and file, so it'll file it on the way out. That same window will pop up. The Accelerator product, for some of our users that are power users and they want to tag emails to opportunities or cases, they want to be able to see if this person is in CRM or not at the time that I file it. This Accelerator window or this Accelerator tool gives you that ability. So here you can see, based on this email address, it looked up Mary Ellen in CRM. So this is a mini CRM window, and I can see if there are any cases assigned to her, any opportunities, what the communications are. I can do all kinds of advanced functionality features like tag emails to, or tag an email to a particular case or opportunity. And I'm not going to go too much into this, but this has been a real popular add-on for our customers, where that out of the box Outlook plugin maybe is falling short or not giving them the power that they need when they're in Outlook and they want to file emails or do some additional functionality from within the Outlook product to integrate with CRM. So that is available to us as well. Okay, email and letter templates. The CRM package itself has the ability to create email templates in it. So if I have common emails that I send, whether it's when I send a quote out, I always use the same verbiage, or when I follow up on a quote, I'm always typing the same thing in. Those are both good examples of using an email template in CRM to make that easier for a CRM user. So if I were going to follow up on a quote, I can just click on the person's email address in CRM. I could pick a template here from this list. So your templates, your email templates will just show up in a list here. And notice it pre-filled in all this information. I do have the ability to type in some additional information if I wanted to, or change some information. And then I just click on send, and that email will go out, and it will be filed obviously to that record in CRM as well, so that it'll be in the communication. So if I come in here, there's that email that I just sent. And it's stored in there. Okay, and the same concept with a Word template. If not as many of our customers are requiring the mail merge to Word, but it does have the functionality to do that. So if you were either creating a letter, or maybe you're not using Sage 100 for quotes and you wanted to generate a quote template using a Word document, you have the ability to merge to Word from the application, and then you can have kind of the same deal. You can have a library of templates available to you within CRM, and we would teach you how to build those templates. It's pretty straightforward. So that both of those, So, that concept of the library of email templates and the concept of the library of letter templates makes your CRM users even more efficient. Now we're getting really into the heart of why a lot of companies decide to make that investment in CRM. And that gets into, because the majority of Sage 100 users are distributors, and the majority of those incorporate quotes into their business. That quoting piece you want to be as efficient as possible with. So the concept of being able to follow up on those quotes at any point, know what quotes are open and which ones are expected to close this month. That's one of the limitations of just doing quotes in Sage 100 is there's no forecasted close date as well. So you don't, in your sales meetings, you're not incorporating that pipeline or that forecast in there and helping the salespeople and management get an idea of what's coming in a given month or in a given quarter. So also note that the opportunities piece, let me go back. The opportunities piece is a best fit when the deals are larger and take longer to close. And obviously, if you're doing quotes, if you just have what we call a relationship sale, meaning once you get an account, they're just calling in for replenishment orders. The opportunities isn't necessarily the best fit. A lot of times, companies that have what we call relationship sales, they just use opportunities to track new customers, right? They're not going to create an opportunity every time an order gets taken. The opportunities are really for those deals where it takes longer to sell and the deals are larger. So let's dive in a little bit deeper here. So here's an example of what the opportunity pipeline looks like, but let me go back into CRM here and let's run through a scenario where, let's go back to, let's use ABC Bakery as an example. So right now, ABC Bakery, they have a couple of existing quotes that are out there. If they called in and they wanted a quote for some additional furniture, I can come in here and create a new opportunity within the system. And maybe they want some furniture for kitchen. And once again, we can customize these fields to let you categorize and slice and dice your opportunity or quote list so that you can do some tracking. We'll just do to be determined here. Core components of every opportunity are, what are the chances it's going to close? So we can preset that or give the user the ability to fill that in. How many dollars do I think the deal is worth? Let's do 3,000. What salesperson it's assigned to, it'll be their responsibility to follow up on the quote and mark it won or lost when appropriate, and when we think it's going to close. So let's say I think this one is going to close by the end of July. These are all core components that are missing from just doing a quote in Sage 100, right? The certainty, the assigned to for follow-up, and when we think it's going to close. So then when I hit save, I have an opportunity in the system, and I also have a workflow. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the future too, but I can guide my CRM user through the next steps. At this point, this workflow has a qualify piece, so I can go through and say, I've qualified them, meaning they're a good fit for quoting, and now notice the next step would be to submit a proposal or send a quote. I can do that through the CRM package. I can go to the Quotes tab and click on New Quote, and it will actually pull up a Sage 100 window, the sales order entry window that you guys use right now to do your quotes. It pulls that up from within CRM. The difference is when I create it within the opportunity, it's actually going to synchronize this quote into the opportunity so that it'll be tied together. One note here, the screens that I have done so far that pop up Sage 100 windows, for example, when I converted a prospect to a customer, when I clicked on the customer maintenance button from that record in CRM, and in this case, I'm creating a new quote from within an opportunity, these windows that are popping up will only work if the session that the user is in has Sage 100 installed. So we talked about, that remote user and pulling up information from within CRM. If the remote user needs to do quoting, they're going to need to be in a remote desktop session like I'm in here, right? They won't be able to do this from a browser. When they click on new quote and they're just in a browser and there's no Sage 100 application on their local machine, it won't do anything. So just to know, obviously we'll help you if you move forward with a project. We'll help you get all those details ironed out. But in this case, I'm entering in a quote for ABC Bakery here for Don Smith, and I can put in some information here. I can pick a salesperson. And then the key, obviously, is I'm going to go and enter in some line items. So let's say we're going to order letter drawer. Okay, I got six left there. I'll do 2 of those. And I think I remember another. Yeah, there's inventory there. And 10 of those. And if you're doing Sage 100 quotes right now, this screen should look exactly the same to you. There's nothing new to learn here. Obviously, if your salespeople are doing quotes in Excel or something like that, then your inefficiency is that somebody has to re-enter that order in, or take that quote and enter it in as an order, or basically re-enter it when it becomes an order. The benefit of doing it this way is when you're doing your quotes up front in Sage CRM and Sage 100 here, then when it becomes an order, all you have to do is convert it. So that's part of the efficiency piece as well. At this point, I'm done with my line items. I can go ahead and hit accept. This customer needs a tax schedule. Let me go ahead and enter that in. And then within a couple seconds, that quote synchronizes down to Sage CRM. So here you see that quote. I can drill down on it. That quote was synchronized. It lives in Sage 100. The data was synchronized down to Sage CRM. Emailing the quote to the customer then becomes easy if you want to use CRM. There's a template that can be built, and I can use the send quote button. And by doing that, then it will pop up an email and have that quote attached as a PDF file within it. So here you see the email. It has some default text that we can adjust, and the quote is actually here. So if you think about it, if you're using the Sage 100 quote tool now and you're emailing it to the customer, the user has to save the quote as a PDF, save it to their local machine, pull up an email, attach the quote to the email, and send the email out. Now with one button, it does all of those features, right? Like come back there. All I had to do was hit send quote. It opened up an email. It put the text in there for me. It attached the quote as a PDF file, and then I can just hit send. And when I do that, let me actually go back here so that I can send myself a quote. So if I go back to that opportunity, when I'm ready to send that quote to the customer, I just click on send quote. Wait about, it takes about 10 seconds typically. If this is all good, I can once again add any additional information here. This will merge in the signature for the appropriate user, and then I can just hit send, and that email will go to the customer and it will be filed. If I go look at that opportunity, that email will be under the communications tab with the quote attached as a reference. Okay, so real nice tight system there, and then I can go back to my opportunity and tell the workflow that I submitted the proposal. It's a little bit of a culture shift for some companies depending on where they're at and how they do quotes now, but that place where we're taking everybody, and we have about 80 customers, CRM customers that are bolted on the Sage 100 now that we work with, ultimately where we take them is that opportunity gets created, the quotes within it, then the salesperson then has under my CRM, they have their own opportunity list that they use for their follow-ups, right? These are my open quotes as a salesperson that I can go to. This can also be displayed on a dashboard if we need to. So when they come in every day or every week, they know this is their list. And then as a sales manager, I can go to the team CRM opportunities and I can combine all of the opportunities for all the salespeople. In this case, I think it'll be the same list because I just have I think I'm in my demo data, I've just got the system administrator as the salesperson. But the concept is the same. I have one list of all of the open quotes, when they're expected to close, and then within my sales meeting, the culture shift then is each salesperson goes and manages their own opportunity list. Before each sales meeting, let's say I have a weekly sales meeting, their expectation is they should go through and mark any opportunities that are won, lost. If the close by date needs to be pushed out, you need to push it out, because in the sales meeting, we're going to look at all the deals that are expected to close this month or this quarter so that we know what kind of cash flow to expect, and production knows if we're going to get hit with a bunch of deals all at once, they need to ramp up for it. And then none of these quotes, the other piece to remember is none of these quotes get forgotten about. And we can build in, CRM has the ability to build in some automation. We can send email reminders. We can actually do quote follow-ups to customers if you want the system to actually send out a follow-up at 30 and 60 days to let them know, hey, were you still going to move forward with this quote? But the key piece there is the culture shift of incorporating these opportunities into your sales meetings, making salespeople responsible for the follow-up and following them through until they're either marked won or lost. And then the workflow gives them the option. If we were going to mark this one won, let's say it was sold, I can convert that quote to an order. I can just pull that up here, go to view edit from that quote, convert it to an order. Obviously, I need permissions to do so, but if I have the authority, I can convert it to an order. I didn't have to re-enter it at all. And then if I go back to the opportunity, I just mark it sold and it falls off my list to follow up. And that closes the loop on the opportunity management. And then we can obviously do reports and look at all the deals that were won or lost. And if you mark it lost, a lot of times we ask the user for a reason why. All that stuff can be incorporated. But that's, at the heart of it, that is, for 80% of our CRM projects, that's the reason why companies pull the trigger on implementing CRM, is because they want that follow-up on their quoting and the sales forecasting. And tied in with that is obviously the tracking of all the sales activities. So we talked about the culture and the adoption, making sure that that's the only way they can do quotes forces your users to use CRM. You hear a lot of people say that, well, we implemented CRM and our users didn't use it. Well, if you say that this is the way we're doing quotes, and you have to, before you can do an opportunity, you have to enter in the person and the company, then that forces them into using it. The system can also do email marketing. Obviously, you can export lists out of the system. You can do lookups and all that kind of stuff. We also have the ability to do email marketing. This example is what I throw at people typically. If you've got all your customers in CRM now, and if you had a new product or service that you wanted to share with them, the easiest way to do it is to send them all an email blast, and then you can tell, the beauty of the email blast tools these days is you can tell who opened it and what they clicked on. So within CRM, there's a MailChimp integration. That's, for those of you that are on older versions of CRM, that's gotten progressively better. So I'll show you some screenshots of what's in the latest version of CRM and MailChimp integration. But the concept is, I can pull up a group in CRM. These are just saved lookups. So if I go to my California customer group, see this sent to MailChimp, I can push this group up as a list up to MailChimp, and then I can generate a MailChimp campaign out of the system that would let me send an email out to that campaign and then out to that group. So then the end result is I can, down to the person level now, I can go to the marketing tab on the person, and it'll show me all of the email campaigns sent to that person and how many opens and how many clicks. Vice versa, I could also pull up that campaign and pull up a group or create a group from all the people that opened it and send them a second email or something to that effect. But that MailChimp integration has been nice and beneficial for our users. So that's there as well. The CRM system also has case management built into it. So not as many of our users use this. Anybody that has to deal with issues that get called in that don't get handled on the phone right away, meaning we may need to do some research, we may need to follow up, we want to continue to have exposure to keep that case open until we get it handled. We obviously use it. Anybody in the technical world would use cases as well. It's a big benefit, and once again, you can pull up any customer within CRM to see their cases. So here's an example, very similar to the opportunity list. You have the case list, right? If I go look at Maverick Papers again, I believe that has some sample cases within there. So when I look at a customer, a salesperson would be able to see if there were any open issues for that customer before they talk to them. Right? A lot of times salespeople get blindsided because they're on the phone with the customer and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And the customer says, "What do you mean how it's going? I'm having these problems." Well, now you're sharing that information across the company again from an issue standpoint. And the issue screen looks something like this, and it can be customized to your specific needs as well, and obviously that can have a workflow as well. Okay. And the workflow I talked about, this is actually one of the unique things about CRM. It has a really strong workflow compared to all the other CRM packages out there. We have the ability to, when you click on one of the workflow items, let me just remind you guys, these workflow items are in the lower right. The structure of the workflow is like a tree diagram. So when I look within the system, if I look at the opportunity workflow, for example, see here it's sequential and it has branches on it. When you click on each one of these workflow items, it has the ability to update a field, prompt the user to update a field, send an email, create a task, run a script. So with one click, we can automate several different activities all at once, and that's really the power of that. So whether it's a case, when a case gets assigned to a technician, the technician gets an email with some information about the case, notifying them that they have a new case. When it's an opportunity that closes over a certain dollar amount, let's say an opportunity closes that's over $100,000 and the president wants to get emailed on it, all that kind of stuff can be built in within the CRM system and adds to its power. So we talked about that example. The CRM system has a leads table too. This is even probably the least used feature, but for my customers that either buy chunks of leads and thousands, or they go to trade shows and get thousands of leads back. And it works best when you have a telemarketing person or a telemarketing group. The main concept of the leads table is you have a spot to dump these leads, and we'll call them raw leads, so that it doesn't garbage up your main list, right? Your main company list isn't going to be populated with 30,000 leads that you've never talked to. You can have a leads list within the system that you maintain, and someone then is responsible for calling the leads, and there's a process of converting those leads to prospects. When they become a prospect, they go into the main database, but until they're converted, they're living only in this separate bucket called the leads table. And the other benefit is then you can do metrics against that lead table. You can say how many leads that came in, how many of them were converted, how many of them weren't. Is it worth it to buy that list next year or to go to that trade show next year? Those are some of the benefits to using the leads table and functionality. Once again, though, for companies that don't have a ton of leads that come in or don't have a person calling on these leads, it may not be worth it. We'll work with you to figure out if it's worth it to do the leads functionality or not. You can run reports as well. This one built within CRM, so I'm actually kind of pivoting off of leads now and just talking about general reports. So you have all this data within the CRM system. We have the ability to build reports, and most of the reports you can build yourself. We'll teach you how to do. In some cases, if you have some summary type functionality that you need to incorporate, we may need to build what's called an ASP page report. We'll show you that in a little bit as well. So within CRM, there is a report function. There's all kinds of built-in reports within the system that you can utilize and change. In addition to the reports, we have dashboards that they're kind of like reports that all run onto the screen is the best way of looking at it. So if I go look at a dashboard here, when the concept is when a customer comes in the morning or looks throughout the day, they want to see the stuff that's important to them throughout the day or in the morning. So here's an example of a dashboard that also uses some of the Sage 100 sales data within it. So here's customers behind in year-to-date sales, communications that were entered in this week, invoices by sales rep, leads by source. I believe my demo system has, if I go to the dashboard here, it has some graphical examples. Right, so opportunities and sales by sales rep. You can have multiple dashboards to choose from as well, so you don't have to just work from one. And each one of these little boxes is called a gadget. So you can have several gadgets. Behind these gadgets is basically just a report that's feeding the gadget. And with our projects, we teach you how to build those and maintain them. A lot of times when you click on the chart, it'll actually pull up the detail behind the chart too. So very nice, very flexible. And we also have custom reporting capabilities. So important to note, the Sage CRM product is actually a platform, right? So behind the scenes, we can write programming to add to its capabilities. One of the most common examples are these things called ASP page reports. So we can build reports within the system. And actually, if I refer back to the item summary, for example, this is a really good example. This is an ASP page report, right? So we built it to read the data and present it in an ASP page. We can also build reports that reference or can get run from the My CRM tab. And that's actually what the examples are that I'm going to show you here. So in some cases, our customers wanted their CRM users to be able to pull up a customer list. So obviously the customers are blocked out here, but you get the concept. The customers with the highest sales at the top and it's showing you who is at the top there. And we can limit who sees these tabs as well, but here's an example of a My CRM customer sales report. We can also do it by item sold. This one's actually even a little more popular. What is our top selling item or our top selling items? So it'll show you the items that are the biggest sellers at the top. And a lot of times these are reports that you may have out of Sage 100 right now, but your salespeople don't have access to Sage 100. This can be run through the CRM interface using that Sage 100 data that gets pulled in nightly. And there's another glamour shot of me. Once again, our role is to help you get it right the first time, implement the CRM system that is custom to your needs, and make sure that you get the return on investment and the adoption. Okay, so with that said, I think I left enough time in here for questions. We're right about at the tail end here. So Steve, if you want to jump in.
Sure. We actually do have three. One question is there a mobile app or functionality for this?
Good question.
I know the answer, but I was going to let you answer it.
Thank you. So there is a mobile app that comes with CRM, but the challenge we've run into is every time Apple updates their iOS, it breaks the app. So it's been kind of a chasing your tail scenario with that one. So we've actually pulled back and said we don't recommend that one anymore. Two scenarios. One, if you're using a tablet, not an actual phone, if you're just using the tablet, this interface works fine on an iPad or an Android, right? You'll use the same interface that you would. If you're using a phone, there's a third-party app made by those same people that make the Accelerator product, and it's called Mobile X, and that actually gives you a full function CRM application from the browser on your phone. So you would just open up the browser on your phone and go to the Mobile X application on your CRM system, and you would run CRM through it. So yeah, we have if you need that, if you have road warriors and they need to have full functionality, meaning when they leave an appointment, they need to enter in communication there, and they want to check opportunities and use the calendar feature and all that kind of stuff within CRM from the phone. We have a solution for that.
Great. Okay. Next question is if you are on an older version of CRM, what is the upgrade process?
It's typically, the first thing is the CRM version is tied to what version of Sage 100 you're on. So if you are on Sage 100 2017, then there's certain versions of CRM that we can install. And we typically go through it. We take about an hour and put together a CRM upgrade planning guide. But the steps, depending on how old your CRM package are, we can, if you're on CRM 6.2, for example, a really old one, then we'll have to do staged upgrades. We'll need to take you to, version 7.1 and then 7.2, and then we can jump to 2017 and so on. So if you're on an older version, a real old version, there's a bunch of upgrades we need to do to get you there. If you're on 7.3, the current version of Sage CRM is 2018. So sometimes we can just take you direct. But in most cases, the beauty of the upgrade is all the customization that we've done will carry forward. So we normally don't have to re-customize components. The customization will carry forward. We just have to do like some screen cleanup. But we can put that upgrade plan together for you if you're interested.
Okay. Next one has multiple parts, so I'm going to ask them one at a time. Okay. Can you add users as you go?
Yes. So you can buy the amount that you need now and add them as you go.
Okay. And is the CRM, and I'm paraphrasing this, the CRM users are separate from the Sage users right?
Great question. Yeah, so Sage CRM user licenses are separate from Sage 100, and a lot of times you'll have a different user count because you'll have CRM users that don't need to get into Sage 100. And moving forward, if you're buying CRM licenses for the first time, I think they only offer what's called named users, meaning you'll need a license for each CRM user. It's not like Sage 100 has concurrent licensing or had concurrent licensing. I think, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, they're kind of moving towards the named user as they move down the subscription road. A lot of that will depend on what your current Sage 100 licensing model is now for your users, but I typically tell people the Sage CRM model is the named user, meaning if you have 10 people that need to log into CRM, you're going to buy 10 CRM user licenses.
Right, and as of right now, Sage 100 is still concurrent users, so they are different. But okay. As far as I know, the CRM licenses are named to a specific person. So, okay. Next part of that question is, can the user license be canceled if the salesperson leaves?
Yes, there's a feature called disabling a user. So when a user leaves the organization, typically you would disable their user. It would give a license back, and then you'd create a new user for the new salesperson that takes over for their territory.
Okay, and I think we're going to need a little more information on this one. How long is the trial period? And I'm thinking maybe the poster is asking about the free user license that comes with Sage 100, and I think that one goes on forever. It's any additional users that we have to worry about, right?
Right. There is one user that comes with your Sage 100 system. So there's one user Sage CRM license. Normally, we've been doing the Sage CRM thing for over 10 years now. I haven't had a single, and I used to do these before, where I would just do a customer wants to play with Sage CRM. So we've installed Sage CRM out of the box, no customization, and we've set it up to integrate with Sage 100. I haven't had a single one of those customers move forward with a CRM project because CRM didn't fit their business. It wasn't customized. They didn't have, the open quotes and orders and all this extra information in there. They didn't have any training. They just played around with it. So what we've been doing is actually we have a demo system. We've been letting people who want to play with the CRM system log into our demo system that is customized, that does have everything set up already so that you can play with it. And that way you don't have to spend any money. You can play with the demo system, and when you're ready to move forward, we can, discuss a potential project and what the cost would be. That's kind of a win-win because, like I said, it's like if you take Salesforce.com and go out of the box right now and just start playing with it, it's not going to be as meaningful because you didn't get the training and there's no customization for your business.
Good. Great answer. Okay, next, this is still part of the same question. Is MailChimp integration part of CRM, or is it an additional add-on?
It's part of the product. The MailChimp, you do have to set up a MailChimp account to connect to it. So there's a connector that we configure. MailChimp, I think, gives you 2,000 contacts for free. They charge or gauge by the number of contacts in your list. Once you go over that 2,000, then you would pay a monthly fee to MailChimp to maintain that account. And MailChimp is where your contacts will sync to, and also where you set up your email templates, to send out those pretty graphical templates would get built on the MailChimp side under that account. So no additional charge on the CRM side, but you might, if you go over 2,000 contacts, you might have a monthly fee associated with the MailChimp side.
Good. Okay. We're moving on, and I'm going to paraphrase this question. Basically, are emails that are sent out of CRM saved in Outlook the same way Outlook emails are saved in CRM? So are they, integrated, so to speak, both ways?
Great question. Yeah, if you send them, if I pull up a person and I send the email from this window, if I click on the email address, if I hit send here, it bypasses Outlook. It would not be in the sent folder. So that's one thing to consider. Now, with that accelerator product, you can actually use a template. If I do a new email here, I can actually pick a template from CRM and use it, right? So it will let me merge a CRM template down into Outlook with, this is that add-on, that third-party add-on called Accelerator. So if using the email template and having it be in the sent folder is critical, this is a solution for that. Normally not a big deal, but some salespeople like to have that in the sent folder. So then, yeah, they would either continue to send it through Outlook and attach it instead of using the templates, or use the Accelerator product.
Great. Okay. Okay. How long to implement out of the box? And then the follow-up to that is, then can you add additional customizations as you go?
I'm not interested in implementing out of the box for the reasons I stated earlier. So I don't think it's worth spending your money to do an out-of-the-box implementation. I would have user demo system. As far as a project to get you up and going with a customized solution, it's normally 30 to 60 days to get you up and running once you decide to move forward. And the customization can be really basic. My main concern is that you get the training and we figure out together how this is going to become part of your company culture, so that you have your accountability and what your expectations are for the user, and we set that up in the system and we train the people based on that.
Okay. Okay. How does this compare to Salesforce.com?
It has the biggest benefit, and the biggest reason people go with Sage CRM is because of the integration with Sage 100. Salesforce.com has a lot more bells and whistles. It's built for Fortune 500 companies for CRM, and then smaller companies can use it. So it's got everything. It's also got a ton of add-on packages for it. That's, we can put that under the bells and whistles umbrella. It's also, you're also going to pay $175 a month per user, and you're not going to get Sage 100 integration. I think there's some third-party ones that are there, but I haven't worked with them, so I can't really talk about how robust that is. But if the Sage 100 integration is important to your business, being able to either do the quotes or see the Sage 100 transactions and data in CRM, then Sage CRM is kind of a no-brainer. That's the way to go.
Okay, and then the follow-up question that is this a subscription program, or are you buying perpetual?
I believe that is based, the answer to that is based on how you currently pay for your Sage 100 licenses. So what Sage, and Steve, you can add on to this, I think what Sage is doing is based on how you're paying for Sage 100. If you're, for example, paying subscription pricing for Sage 100, then they would price out your Sage CRM that same way. If you are purchasing your Sage 100 licenses perpetual, meaning you bought the license up front and you're just paying maintenance on it, then you would buy your CRM licenses the same way.
Okay.
Is that correct?
I think so. I would have to go and investigate that, but I can definitely speak to the Sage 100 side. I'm not so much on the CRM. So
yeah, I believe that
they don't. We can look it up.
Yeah, they're not gonna mix and match. They want you to be on the same model, I guess, is my main point there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we still have a clarification here on the email. So sent email from CRM is saved in CRM only, and emails received in Outlook have to be manually attached to a customer in CRM. Yeah,
correct.
I'm not sure.
That is, yep, that is correct. So yeah, that's a good clarification. So if I receive an email in Outlook, I have to tell it, you know, either through this file email button if I have the Sage CRM plugin, or through the accelerator if I bought this add-on. I have to tell it to go to CRM, right? It's not going to automatically file it to CRM. So anything that I received in Outlook or that I'm sending from Outlook, I have to tell it to file. If I initiate the email from within CRM, right? I'm not in Outlook now, I'm just in CRM. If I initiate the email from CRM, then it will automatically, I got to refresh this, hang on a second. From this screen, it will automatically send and file to CRM. The only drawback is because it's sending from CRM directly, it bypasses my local Outlook. So I could be on a tablet, for example, and send an email. It's just that this has no correlation to my Outlook email box. It's just going to send it, and it's going to file it to CRM, and it's not going to be in my Outlook sent folder.
Got it. Okay, let's see. Can CRM integrate with Gmail, or is it only Outlook?
It's pretty much only Outlook. There really isn't. I'm not aware of a good solution for Gmail. There aren't any third-party ones either, and so that there might be a situation where you decide, you know, if the Sage 100 integration isn't that important to me, and the tight integration with Gmail is, then maybe Salesforce is the best solution, because I know Salesforce does have a built-in Gmail integration, and there's also third-party ones as well. Most of our customers either have their own Exchange server, or they're using Office 365 for their email. But in both cases, they're using the Outlook client on their desktop. The only other option is, I think there's a way to run Outlook and on the front end, meaning Outlook on your desktop, and behind the scenes, you're actually your mailbox is on Gmail.
Oh, so kind of like a forwarding or a pass-through. Yeah, I do that at home because I have multiple accounts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to, here we left off. Okay. This person wants to know, how do we get pricing on the customization?
Good question. So if you're interested in CRM, reach out to Steve and let his team know. They'll, we do this all the time with them. We've been doing this for 10 years with them. They will get in touch with me, and we'll set up what's called a needs analysis and demo. So we offer a free, usually takes about an hour and a half. We'll run through a lot of the stuff we went through here, but in addition to that, I take you through a questionnaire of what features it makes sense for your company to use in phase one of the project. And from that questionnaire, I'll put together a ballpark quote specific to your company, and that'll be a dollar range to install and customize the CRM project for your company. A typical project, most of our projects on the services side usually run between $10,000 and $15,000, and that's designing the system, in detail, installing the software, customizing it, and providing you end user and administrator training so that you're self-sufficient on the product. And then if you get stuck on anything, you call us. So that's, the typical one. As always, if you decide to do less customization, it'll be under that. If you have, lots of data to migrate, and you want to do all kinds of customization in phase one, it may be over that range, but that's usually where we fall.
You know what? And as a former customer of Don's prior to my current career, I would say that your questionnaire is pretty in-depth. I know when we first started, I thought we had everything nailed and this was just going to be a half-hour long session, and I believe we spent 3 hours the first time just going through all the information. So yeah, this is not just a, check this box. I mean, there's a lot of thinking involved and planning that goes with it. So.
Yeah, and
okay.
Steve's team was high on the customization and the workflow. We built a workflow diagram that could have filled up a wall for them. So they were on that end of the spectrum. Yeah.
Well, and even before he got there, we had filled up a wall. We had a flow chart that actually ran all the way around the room. So, okay, let's see. Can Sage CRM replace Outlook for email?
No. So what Sage CRM doesn't do is it doesn't receive email. So that's a good question. We get that a lot, actually. But you still need a tool to receive your emails. The way I best describe it is if you have an email where you want to use a template and send it out quick, that's the only time you use the Sage CRM email, is to send out that templated email. All other emails, meaning you're replying to an email or you're sending a brand new one that's from scratch, you're normally using Outlook for that.
Well, and that kind of makes sense because if it was your replacement for emails, then everybody in your company would have to have a CRM license just simply because to send out email. So this way you kind of have the best of both worlds. You can have CRM for the people that need it, but you still have an email system for everybody else. So let's see where that would make sense. All right, Don, that looks like the last of the questions. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask? All right, I'm going to say no. I'd like to thank everybody for attending, and I'd especially like to thank Don for going through this. I apologize that we went overtime, but we did have a lot of questions this time. I appreciate it. And I believe this wraps it up. Thank you very much.
Yep, and follow up with Steve if you are interested, and we'll take care of you from there. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day.